some skill.
You want to try living in the Northeast, a lot of people got evaluations.
And
Welcome, everybody, and I'm going to call the Harbor Committee meeting to order. So, first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of February 13th,
January 9th, right?
January 9th.
January 9th,
January 9th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the meetings of January 9th as written. I second it.
But any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it's carried. Under new business, we have commercial operator reviews.
Yep, so we need to set a date on when you guys wanna review that. I would suggest that we, give them at least a couple of months to put together whatever it is that you wanna see from them. And, I'll send notices out to all the commercial operators that,
Have we made any changes?
no, but,
Per ordinance, every 3 years, we have to review, since we changed it to a lease agreement, then we have to look at them, they have to give us basically a business summary plan, proof of insurance, proof like your vessel. And we say, this is working good, or hey, I haven't seen that guy around, he's not doing his work.
we get insurance and stuff every year. That's an ongoing thing from everybody, but, we haven't done a review on them in over 10 years, to the best of my knowledge, so.
Would you recommend any changes?
I don't think we're recommending changes in this. I think you guys wanna review each operator and maybe get them to put together a summary of their business plan or what it is that they do. And then after we review them, that would be the time that you guys could say that you wanted to make some sort of changes, in my opinion.
Okay.
If that were,
Any comments from you guys?
No, it's just the time that, when we review, say, hey, they've done a good job, or hey, they've, haven't played well with others.
Abuse of privilege?
Yeah.
Okay,
so I would recommend the April meeting that we.
let's
ask
record
for
that as,
stuff.
as being the date. When we
April
will,
meeting.
April meeting and, a summary of what you would like to see. Some sort of business plan.
Let me just find this real quick.
Where is it? Why not March, Joe?
It only gives them a month. I think it would be fair to give them a couple months.
and we're just talking about the passenger operation, are we not?
Yes,
Just the passenger vessels.
Just the ones that have the lease agreements with the town. So on or before September 30th, on every third year. After an operating contract is executed, every approved operator must submit to the harbor master application for approval for the Northeast Harbor Marina. Application should be submitted on forms supplied by the town. At a minimum, require each operator to submit a detailed operation plan for its use of the marina. First up, the application shall be to provide the town with a periodic opportunity to review the use of the Northeast Harbor Marina. Decision and criteria shall include operators' record of safety, compliance, courtesy of use of the float, public feedback, and other factors related to the safe and efficient use of the Northeast Harbor Marina. The harbor master shall forward all applications to the harbor committee with a recommendation of approval with conditions or non-approval. The harbor committee shall review the applications and with the harbor master's recommendations and forward the application to the select board with the committee's recommendations. Select board shall make the final determination on all applications.
So I'll cut and paste and send that with the letter I send out.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay,
And we'll look at it for the April meeting.
yeah,
And this is each season they're supposed to sign with John. And give basically, but the paragraph 4 says that each operator has to sign a lease agreement. They're supposed to sign it every year.
They do.
Yeah,
I-
and that which includes a commitment, they're supposed to commit to operate too, like. We might have some that don't, and that's part of, so in our 3-year reviews, that guys sign a lease agreement to operate. Now, if they haven't, should that go to some? Go for it.
Right. All right, sounds good.
Hmm.
Any other discussion about the commercial operator review? Okay, so we're setting the date of the April meeting for review and approval of the operation. All right, we've got the North Dock update.
I'm assuming you guys have been down there, most of the stone is in place. I just approved a change order, yesterday or Monday, that was yesterday, yeah. They're doing an upgrade on the hangers that hold the ramp. The one that they did prior, it's working fine, but it needs a bigger rod, so they had to make an adjustment to upgrade it. Couple $1,000 more for a change order, but, I think it's something that definitely needed to be done.
You said the new ramp was already built.
The ramp's actually been built for quite a while,
Okay,
probably almost a year now.
I did look at the stonework down here yesterday. I thought it looked pretty good.
Yep, they're, I guess chinking and trying to close the gaps, and they had to hold up waiting for this change order because they have to cut holes in the stone to accommodate the brackets that hold the rod that holds the ramp. But they're moving along. The engineer was through yesterday and, checking on their progress, and he's happy. They're making good progress, and
All
he
right,
thinks once they get this bracket in place, they'll wrap it up fairly quickly.
sounds good.
It may be May before we see actual hot top though, because you gotta wait for the plants to open.
Anybody have any questions, comments? All right. And now we have an issue of storm update.
Yep, as you guys know, the state of Maine, most coastal counties get approved for FEMA, money. So our insurance company doesn't cover docks and floats for events like that, so, luckily we've been approved. I think we'll end up getting, reimbursement for any repairs that we did through FEMA. Both of our main hoist, got water in them, and both had electrical issues. We replaced the 3 GFCIs on the outside of my building because they all were underwater, just to be safe. The Ford Explorer that the harbor owns, that had water all the way up into the cab. That's already got 4 new brakes and rotors and a brand new starter. It froze up, wouldn't even hardly move, and then a day or two later, it wouldn't start. So we've put in claims with that, but, the insurance company may cover that one. But
Now, we were talking earlier about the finger floats rising above the pilings. Are we gonna have to have new pilings put in?
there's 2 pilings that were an issue. I basically put 8-foot extensions on both of them to get us through the storm that was coming 3 days later. Luckily, it didn't come to that point, but, yes, there's 2 pilings that I think I need to, have pulled and have longer ones put in.
Yeah.
But I've got extensions on them for now that will, accommodate if something like that happens until we can get that done.
And he was gonna look at, doing something so the pilings are not pulling up one side, they'll both support each other like in the middle. Like my piling is bent way over now, it doesn't even.
Yeah, I
you know what
mean, there's a lot of pilings that are probably this spring that may need to be reset because there was a huge amount of pressure on the marina. That's something we'll have to look at.
You know what I mean? So cause now we have pilings that don't, if one pushes this way, it's not pulling off the other, they're just pilings, kind of like bouncing. Instead of having it holding, like the new dock we built, it's got rollers and that, there's stress. All the load is evenly distributed between all the pilings.
Right.
Our main pier isn't that way, it's whatever pilings, you know what I mean, the wind shifts it on.
Because those pilings that you're talking about are meant to just be guide pilings to keep it in a
Right.
certain area where the north dock, where the sunbeam is, those pilings are so substantial that
Correct.
they don't move and they all support each other. The wooden pilings, I don't think you could do that with the wooden pilings. they would break, I think.
Yeah, we have some like the chains, you know what I
Yes.
mean, and there's other plastic pieces to keep
Yep.
them, or if the pipe, they've, you know, that they used to have areas where they'd have a square, so they had a larger area they could move, but it would
Yep.
fetch with the, remember this piping? They
Yep.
used to be around them.
Around some of them, yes.
Yes.
Did you observe any pilings that were really close to being too short? Other pilings other than these ones?
No, just those two.
Just those two?
Yeah.
And the others seem to be totally adequate?
From the best of what I could see, and, you know, I sent Jenya to go eyeball other ones that I couldn't see, and those are the only two that we know of that, were, one was completely, and the other one was just inches from going under.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just those two, the rest of them all appeared to have, you know, 3-4 feet or more above, even during that huge surge.
Now, I think we're just going through our king tides of the year right now, and I mean, Clifton had this much yesterday,
Yesterday.
without a stitch of breeze. or-
Even today, with tide.
Yeah, Sunday was a 13-foot tide.
So these are, they call it king tides,
Yep.
or correlating with your lunar.
Yep,
So it, I mean, not much of a chow for, you know,
Like on, the Saturday storm after the big one, the tide was a 13-footer. And it was right to the lip of going up over the pier, which is the highest I'd ever seen other than the day it surged. And they said it broke records for a high tide all up and down the coast, and there really wasn't a surge with it. It was just a huge tide. I
right.
think it ended up being, you know, 13-14 feet.
The Saturday tide, I was over here with the big surge, but the Saturday tide, the West Dolphin disappeared.
Well, obviously, this isn't the beginning of a trend that we're gonna have to recognize,
So one other
deal with.
piece of this is we're a few years away from getting started on the main pier. I think the main pier is gonna have to be risen a couple of feet.
I agree. Totally.
Do you
So
have
you're
any
gonna drive
damage
up?
to the main pier? Any damage to the main pier? No.
No, the point there between us and Clifton saved the whole marine. If we'd been wide open to that, it would have just decimated.
What
the
about
whole
Seal
thing.
Harbor? Any problem there?
The Seal
Yeah.
Harbor Comfort Station got lifted off its
Okay.
foundation and moved about 10 to 15 feet.
Dock, okay?
Well, it's just concrete, I mean, granite pier.
I've seen that dock underwater other times.
It was completely underwater. The waves were rolling right across the Seal Harbor Pier
Yeah.
and going over and hitting a yacht club. It was completely underwater,
Wow.
multiple feet.
How about Somersville? Any,
I went and looked at it. And, you know, it was, you know, close to the pier there, but, you know, it didn't go up.
I'm
to it.
sure they
or
got
the
it.
storm was underwater.
Yeah.
The propane
Yeah,
tanks.
and,
out
yeah.
the parking
I
lot.
spoke with, Rob Zelinski that works up at Butler's Yard. They had, up in their upper building, they had dinghies floating around inside the building, so. There was quite a surge up the sound too.
Yeah.
I have a question. John, you said that there's 2 pilings that definitely need to be replaced, I think you said. And the others need to be checked to see if they're okay. Is there, who does that type of checking?
There's multiple barge companies that can pull and redrive new pilings. We use 2 or 3 different ones.
So someone's gonna come in and inspect them all then for us?
They don't need to be inspected. I just need to look at them someday and see if they're slanted or out of whack. Then I'll have them pulled and reset.
Mhm.
But there's 2 that are not of adequate length if we ever see something like that again.
Where are those 2? Which dock?
They're on the south dock.
Okay, thanks.
any other comments or questions?
Someone said that, you know, like a person, that if you lost your dock, you'd need to go through permitting again with DEP. Do you know if that's true?
I'm not sure. That'd be a good question for Kim Keen. Cause she's the one you'd actually have to go through if you were looking to build a dock. They always ask for my signature and see if it would interfere with anything, but that's under her purview for most of it. And if you were replacing it in kind, almost identical,
Right,
I don't think you have to go through all of the hoops, but you may have to notify that it got destroyed and you were rebuilding and show plans that it was the same as what was there.
right.
Well,
Man, that must be happening all up and down the coast, you
Well,
know.
I'm
I
gonna
think
try and move
thousands
up.
of docks
Huh?
up and down. the coast.
Everywhere.
15 right around here, just here.
I
Yeah,
mean, there's 4 in the harbor here alone.
Now, you're supposed to be responsible for any that are in disrepair, giving notice to owners and.
Well, they're not really in disrepair, they're just,
they're
just
gone.
they're
They're
gone.
disappeared.
Yeah,
They're just gone completely.
but I mean, any debris and that, you know what I mean, so.
It actually has been all cleaned up, hasn't it?
They got, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
know
had,
down there, I'm just saying like if that.
Yeah, no,
They give
everybody,
you the,
yes, everybody stepped up and cleaned up their stuff almost instantly. It was really amazing. I had one, I didn't have anything that I had to go pick up. I mean, we picked up what we could that was floating next to the dock and took and put it over with our trap pile, and they took it when they took old traps, but it really is amazing. Are you still seeing stuff floating when you're out?
no.
No.
I had a huge piece, my piece of debris was probably 25 by 10 intact. And that went way up to the Asticoo.
Mhm.
And I had it hauled away because I wasn't sure what the liability would be,
Yeah, if it comes
because
free.
it could be traced to me.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, once I get a boat in the spring, yeah, I'll go around and look at everything, see. But I think most people are on top of it,
Hmm.
and most of the people that have piers have money, and I think they're wanting it to be ready for next year, so good luck to them finding someone to have it done, but I've heard a few thrown around that they just said, I want it done, I don't care what it costs, just do it.
But I know a couple of them, and I hats off to them, are pretending like they immediately, their first trip was getting the Cranberry Islands and starting on the Sutton's main pier, town pier is gone. And I know those companies are working,
Sure.
you know, doing those for taking less money to do those projects for the people that need them most is really
Yeah.
nice to see.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, very dramatic situation.
well, I think we had 4 or 5 of those strong southerly storms this year, and I think last year we had 2 or 3, so it seems like every year we're getting a little bit more, and they're stronger every year, so I don't think it's the last.
And you can't deny that the water level hasn't risen. So a
No.
lot.
I mean, some of you, like you, Rick, you've been here your whole life and you've never seen the water
I
level that
can
high.
document shorelines on most of the islands in Jericho and Blue Hill Bay. Have new shorelines with spruce trees this big around, all the roots exposed on almost every island.
Their tides have increased
And tides have
because of our
increased.
axis of rotation has actually changed on the earth.
Yeah,
So where we are in the rotation, the effects of the gravity has also increased.
yeah, we're in for some dramatic changes and we'll have to adjust to them. Okay, thank you very much. We received an email today from Jamie Blaine about the ice skating rink. I thought Erica might be here, but she's not. Jamie, do you want to explain to us what your concerns or interests are?
I do, thank
You're
you,
on.
Rick. Yeah, Erica was planning on being there and I was always gonna be here by Zoom because my wife has just had her knee replaced and so we're not there right now. But Erica's mother got sick and is in the hospital today and so she can't come. But in the email, I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on where we are and then run some ideas by you. So first of all, on the fundraising, we've exceeded our goal and we're now approaching $650,000. And so we would like to continue, and we've set a new goal of 900 to 950,000. And the reasons for that are, one, I think we underestimated fairly substantially the cost of bringing power to the rink, although we don't know what that cost is yet, but I think we need to have more money in the bank for that. We want to create a fund to help pay for future operations, since the town owns the rink, but in particular to help pay for the rink manager. And we kind of have an idea. We're beginning to see this as a year-round thing with the tennis and paddle, pickleball and us. And so if we could find someone that could manage operations on both ends of that, that would make a nice full-time job for people. So we'd like to at least think about and get your input on creating a fund for having a full-time person. We also would like to build a small warming hut, and I just received from Greg Scott, who is I see is on here, local architect, a sketch for what it would look like. I have it on PDF form, and I emailed it to you, Rick, and you, John, just now. So in case I can't figure out how to share my screen, that's not one of my strengths here. And so again, if this warming hut, which is pretty modest, works, it can work. And you'll see if I can figure out how to show you this as a year-round thing, and we can raise and lower things for the summer for heat and not heat. And we're pretty confident that we can do it. We're only now launching the community phase of the fundraising, and we really want to give everybody a chance to participate in kind of feeling ownership of the town's rink. And so there are a lot of people who have expressed interest in contributing small or large amounts. So far, we've received gifts ranging from $20 to $100,000. So that'll give you some idea of the range of giving here. And also, MCM has agreed to install temporary lights for the rink. You may have seen some activity down there, so we want to.
Cute. We were quite sensitive to changes being made down at the Village Green area, especially with planning, and I just am passing around my phone so people can see the proposal for your warming hut, which is now like a permanent structure. Have you considered perhaps installing like a removable figure or trailer or something for a warming hut that could be taken away in the summer season?
Well,
I thought he mentioned it's gonna be year round, so you can drop the side, so maybe if people are playing tennis, they get in the shade,
Oh,
because
okay.
they're combining. I think it's gonna, is that correct?
yeah, if you scroll down to the 7th slide, so this hut is designed to blend in naturally with the current buildings there. It's the same size, the same scale.
Oh.
It's
It's the last. Yeah, I get you.
So they're looking to expand the usage of the courts and the other off times, and then you'd be able to put your stuff in there, someone get out of the shade, or if it rained, get some cover.
right. And if you go to the last two slides, you can see that it's this is something that Greg designed. It's actually out in Oregon, but it has a glass face towards the tennis courts, and the glass can be raised easily in the summer, so it's open. But there's a 5-foot overhang, so you can still sit in the shade, and then in the winter you just pull the glass down, and it tucks right in. It's designed to seat probably 12 to 15 people. either, so that there will be a place for parents who want to just watch their kids skate. There'll be a place to change skates, and maybe in the future, if there's, I mean, one thing we learned in this recently is that 70% of people who go to rinks like this don't have their own skates. So if we could have a skate exchange or a small skate rental, it would really help. I think attract people who want to skate but don't have skates.
Okay. Chris,
May I make a motion in support of the continued work?
all right,
Where would the structure be located?
It would be located. Let's see if I've got it on here.
okay. I'm assuming on this northern edge, but.
Yeah, we're,
Yeah.
yes,
I
right,
see.
right facing the tennis courts now.
I have a question
Oh.
when you have a moment.
Sure, I'm just seeing if I can share the screen here.
My question is that, if that's located facing the tennis courts, then presumably the back of it is to the area where we have the, memorial ceremonies during our like Veterans Day, Memorial Day.
No, the opposite.
It's on the opposite side.
I think it's on the other side.
So the back of it is, okay, so so it faces the tennis courts, the back is to the parking lot.
Right,
Right, I was wondering if,
The north side of the tennis courts.
right.
Okay.
And we haven't, this is not cited or anything yet. This is really for your, just to make sure we bring it to your attention as soon. This is the first, the sketch, Greg just finished the sketch this afternoon, so this is early. But-
Jamie, I've heard from a few people that, they've said that the chillers are gonna be larger than anticipated and, that they are extremely noisy. And someone said something about a building potentially having to be built around them to try to keep the noise down. What can you speak to that? Cause
I haven't
that's
heard that, John. I haven't heard that. But I can find, no, we've not, none of us has heard of that, has heard that at all, so.
I can't remember where I heard it, but I
Okay.
had heard that.
Okay, we will definitely check into that ASAP, so just know that we ain't doing anything without you guys knowing about it, so.
Yeah, no, it's just. Was
Yeah, I
hoping you
haven't heard.
had heard
Right.
that, but if you could look into it, that would be awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you're self-funding everything with this right now?
Well, yes, we are. The town provides 10,000 operating money a year. And the town owns it, so I don't think we want to be in the fundraising business forever. In fact, not for much longer. And so I think if we can get all of this done, then that should really be a big help for the town, and they can take it from there.
Another question I would have that would go with the chillers has anybody looked into what the electricity cost would be on a yearly or a monthly basis to run them?
No,
As large as they are, I assume it's gonna be quite substantial.
Yes, I don't know what the figure is where, we've looked into it, but I don't have an answer for you.
You're in the very much preliminary stages of this anyway, so.
Well, we want to get them in when the tennis court is constructed so they can go underneath and be there.
Yeah, but I mean,
And that is potentially this spring, correct?
Correct, yeah,
okay, all right,
yeah.
all right.
Do you
I-
plan on expanding the size of the court? I mean,
No.
the size of the rink, or you plan on keeping it the same size it is right now?
It's gonna be the same size. I'd asked that, and Peter Bronson, who's the hockey guru down there, said he thinks this size is good. So that's the size it's gonna be.
So will you be getting
Donna?
back to us? Will you be getting back to us about how many decibels of sound that the chillers create and what it would take to suppress that sound?
I will.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Howie. Hi, Jamie.
Right,
Hey, Howard.
I'm glad to hear that this is becoming more of a resource for the community, and thank you for all your work with that. I'm a little concerned about multiple buildings just springing up, so it would be really hard for me to make a decision on this, on the facility building until I hear back from whether or not you guys need to build some kind of soundproofing for the generators or the compressors, whatever it might be.
Okay, you mean like a separate building?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It'd just be good to understand the whole layout that
Mhm.
you're trying to express rather than taking it piece by piece.
Yeah. This, I like to think I'm pretty involved, but this is news to me, so I will follow up for sure.
And if you could include an updated footprint for the chillers, that would be helpful too, to go with that information.
The chiller and the other building, I mean,
exactly.
The footprint for the building is on the sketch, so it's 28 feet by, I
Sure.
think, 17 feet.
Yeah, we were trying to look at it on a cell phone, Jamie, so it was kind of hard to
Yeah.
really get a good gist of it.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but
Jamie, the other thing is, that's all new news to me too, about the whole, how much noise it's gonna make and all of that. So it might not even be an issue, and then it's all resolved, right? So,
wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
yeah.
Everything's
And-
efficient. Yeah,
And like John said about the electricity, can you give us an estimated electricity cost for running these chillers as well?
I'm sure that the company must be able to.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I
So-
actually have
so-
had a experience with a remote chiller and had to build a structure around it because the neighbors had an issue with the sound level. So it's
Okay.
good that you're planning all this out in advance before you actually install them.
We're trying to, now, so one thing, Donna, on all of this is that since the town owns the rink, the town has to, is doing all the process of putting it out for bid. I don't think there are very many people who build ice skating rinks in near Northeast Harbor, Maine, but they have to go through all that process. So in that sense, it's we're kind of, we used to run things and now we're kind of just the bagmen. But I will so that Brian is and Derlin are really the go-to people on all of this. But we're trying to keep as involved as possible. But that's why I don't know all the answers, but I'll find them.
Yeah, well, John made a good point of, wondering what the cost of running these chillers would be, electricity costs, because it's pretty significant, I'm sure.
I'm sure. And that's why one reason we've raised our goal. Because we'd like to keep the burden off the town as far into the future as we can.
Yeah.
So the leftover money, I believe he's saying, would be put into trust or fund for.
Yeah, mostly for the rink manager. I mean, presumably the we'll have a handle on the operating costs, but right now, all we get from the town is the 10,000.
So what I was trying to make for my motion was not to like approve the structure was presented. I was hoping to make my motion was to continued support of the project.
Encourage support and communication with the project. How's that sound? Is that agreeable with everybody?
yeah,
I'll
and I think,
second the motion.
Thank you.
and I think it'd be nice to see a drawing, I think, like, like the garden club had a good drawing of the marina itself, if you could just lay out the structures on that
Well,
drawing.
I like the advanced heads up Jamie, I like that idea and keep us informed and we'll try to work with you as best we can.
You bet. And Jim, if you get, I can send everybody the email, or Rick and
Send
John.
it to John, if you send it
But there,
to John.
there are sketches and there are pictures that show the scale. And so it gives you a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
Oh, great.
I'll forward it out to everybody tomorrow.
Great. Terrific.
okay. Any other comments?
No, we just gotta vote on the.
Yeah, we'll have a vote on that motion to continue the communication and support. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, anything else anybody would like to bring up?
Yeah, Rick, just from, our subcommittee meeting, you asked us, you asked us to look at the, parking on Huntington Ave. And
Yes,
we
sir.
we looked at it and we decided we'd come up with a proposal and then we took a step back and we really want to think it through one more time before we come to you with anything. So it'll be another month, but you'll hear from us then.
Good.
So Howie, we're talking about the road from the Kimball Terrace to, say, Phoebe Milliken's house.
Right.
Where is Phoebe
Which
Milliken's
shows
house?
up as Harbor Drive. And I've
We're not-
always thought of it as Huntington.
Well, I did too, but does it start out as Harbor Drive?
You're basically talking about from the motel to
From the motel to the big
Clifton
corner.
It
Dock.
comes down, Huntington Road comes down by the hotel, takes a right and goes to meet South Shore.
Not on
Har-
Google Maps and
Harbor
everything.
Drive comes down.
I've seen what
Well,
Chris
the-
is
It
saying.
even says Harbor Drive. There's a
But-
sign there.
But yes, the intersection of Huntington and Harbor Drive or South Shore, whatever you wanna call it, basically to Clifton Dock Road.
So
That's the area that
My
they're,
car says that's Harbor.
So here's Harbor Drive, that stops right there at
My
Huntington,
glasses.
right by, there's a
Are you
Northeast,
talking-
right? That's Kimball Wayne that comes down this way, that's, see Huntington Drive starts
Yeah.
right by the Winter Church.
Yeah.
Comes down, then takes a right and goes down till it meets South Shore right at the corner right here.
But the signs down here say Huntington, say Harbor.
It stops right here, right? So this says, if you go down here,
Okay,
it says Huntington and South Shore.
okay,
And when you get to here, it goes, you have Harbor Drive coming back
okay.
out.
Well, the other thing is,
And the Huntington Road goes up here and stops.
there's no parking signs on both sides of that
And
road.
in the ordinance, after reviewing it, that's what I was mentioned, that there is, it would take an ordinance change. So you'd have to go to town meeting to
Yeah.
change, because this is no parking along that whole stretch.
Yeah,
So
Okay, so-
and initially when we reviewed, there was, I didn't know that this went up here. I thought Kimball Lane went down to here. You know what I mean? And allowed for some parking on that, but after review of the ordinance, it doesn't.
but I'm just not in favor of
anyone else wanna see the roads?
loading it
Yeah, I know, but
with
it's kind of
cars.
funny the way they named it, the
Yeah.
town, down.
Story,
Yeah.
I
thought
hear,
that-
Story, I hear you about that, and I think we can talk about it in our subcommittee meeting and then come back to the regular meeting with a proposal. Whatever.
Howie, would I be out of line to ask for a report by, the March meeting?
No, that would be fine by us. I will not be here to give it, but I'll have someone else be able to give it.
Well, I'm gonna be in a bad, even cell phone area. I don't know that I'll be able to do it by phone.
The March meeting?
Yeah,
Well, but
I won't be here for the March meeting.
so that's
All right.
pretty much all of us,
well,
except
do
for
you-
Chris.
I'll be in Florida, but I'll present from there with a big smile on my face.
You'll be in Florida in March?
Yeah.
why don't we
So-
wait and do it at the April meeting when
Do
everyone
it
will
in
be here?
April.
All right.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
do it.
Howie.
Yeah, Rick, let's do it in April and then we'll make it for the next town meeting and that's it.
And honestly, if there's gonna be a large number of you that are gonna be away, I really don't know if there's anything substantial that we need to have a March meeting. We could skip if we need to.
Well, you got 4 of us that's missing.
Gonna be gone, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just something to throw out there. I don't know what you feel.
What's the feelings of everybody that if John says we don't have much on our agenda for March, you want to postpone the March meeting to April?
Yes,
I mean, if four of you were gone, it would be a struggle to come up with a quorum.
Yeah,
especially if you lose one other for,
all right. I'm gonna make that a motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded that we postpone our March meeting to the April date. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
We'll have a report for you by then.
okay, Howard, thanks. Thank you very
Oh, yeah.
much.
And generally, there's nothing pressing, but if there's something pressing, I'll just consult with you, Rick, and we'll go forward.
Yeah, so, we have, that'll be time to have good discussions in preparation for the, warming hot and the compressor issue, the, commercial boat operators. It'll be a good agenda. Okay?
I'm
Any-
surprised at skating rink, there's so many people around to skate.
I
Yeah,
don't
It's
see
busy.
many people down there though.
Yep.
I don't come down here that often, but
I'm impressed with how many
Yep,
people. I see.
Lemoyne
Yeah,
has put one out just like it and behind their school, which I think is getting quite a bit of attention too.
Where?
Lemoyne's
Oh,
Consolidated
yeah.
School. I went to a party at the school and I stepped out the back door and I was like, oh wow, they've got this, the exact same setup that they have here, so.
Hey, John,
good.
John, is there any idea when all that stuff in Seal Harbor will get fixed? Of course, you know, I'm interested in that.
I know that building is under the highway department's purview. I know Ben has met with the insurance adjusters and everything. So it's in process. I know they had a meeting today with Greg Johnston, the Rails family that owns the old Rockefeller property have offered to do something to get the electrical wires that run through their property. I think they offered to do an underground something. I'm not sure what became of that meeting today, but everything's in slow process because of the insurance adjusters and
Do you think it'll be done by, you know, by summer? You know, by
I would
June?
assume so. From what I've seen of the building, obviously I haven't been inside of it, but I actually think it floated off its foundation and then got pounded 10 or 15 feet by the surge and the waves.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it
don't
looks
know if
like
you-
that south edge looked pretty damaged, but other than that, it didn't look too bad.
But even the windows that were taking the brunt of the waves, they're not even broken, so.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah.
You know, it looked like the building was in pretty decent shape, but I'm not an engineer, so.
Hey, just a thought I had when I heard you say that the rails would help with underground wiring. You mentioned at one point that you were hoping to get some cable out there so you could do a CCTV, right?
Sure, if, you know, whatever happens, I think, we potentially can get whatever the cable TV line run down there. I mean, if they go
Okay.
underground, they'll put extra conduit that could easily, you know, accommodate a cable line.
Yeah, yeah, I just thought if they're doing it, you know, that might be the time to get it done. That's all.
Definitely.
Cool. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody, thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, is it seconded?
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Bye.
Opposed?
It's
Carried.
unanimous.
Thank you very much. Good meeting.